What it do, what it do, what it do, how you doing? Hopefully everybody is fine. Thank you for tapping in with the vibe. This is Wrestling with Fuze and
Bree.
And we back with another one. Today we are going to relive, review, vibe to WWF pay-per-view Summerslam 1992. Now this was a subscriber request, so we had to do our thing. I hope y'all enjoy. Go ahead, kick back, vibe with us. Let's get straight into it.
Styling, profiling, flair with the flow, put the instrumental and a figure 4 leg locks.
And we in London, England.
It's the 5th SummerSlam.
It going down. London, England. They said about what? 80,000 people in this
and
joint?
it's in
Wembley.
Wembley Stadium. And it was held on August 29th, 1992.
Yes, sir. And we had Bobby the Brain Heenan and Vince McMahon. That's the first two people we see on the scene other than that beautiful crowd in England, London, England. And should I say Sir Bobby the King? That's what he was trying to say. He put on the crown just to play on the whole thing. It was nice, man. The whole little...
Vince called him a royal pain.
Yeah, Vince called him a royal pain. The whole package they opened up with was nice. Just to see all those fans. They were so excited that the WWF or WWE was in their hometown.
Dressing up a lot of little kids were dressing up like their favorite.
Oh yeah, Macho Man. That little kid that was like Macho Man.
Yeah, there was a whole outfit.
That got me.
Macho Man. Yeah,
that got me. And then you already know we had the main event was the British Bulldog versus Bret Hart for the IC title. So it was going down. They were excited. I'm excited to relive this whole event. I know about the British Bulldog and Bret Hart match, but it's just dope to relive this whole event. Got Bree right on the side of me, so can't lose with that. And to start it off, it was a theme going through the whole event, and it was Mr. Perfect. Is Mr. Perfect going to be in the corner of...
Macho Man or the Ultimate Warrior?
Yes, so we gonna see the Ultimate Warrior versus Macho Man for the WWF Championship.
And just a tidbit, guys, this was my first time seeing Ultimate Warrior wrestle.
So clap that up, y'all. Clap that up for me, y'all. And Macho Man and Warrior, we gonna get to that match in a minute. But the first match of the night, we got Money Inc. Ted DiBiase and IRS versus L.O.D. Hawk and Animal. They both got their managers with them. Money Inc. got Jimmy Hart. L.O.D. had my mans. I forgot they just had brought him back. And they had the little dial with him, Rocco, my bad. They come out on the motorcycles looking fire with the gold pads. It's going down. If you know, you know. Hawk, L.O.D. was like, I'm not sure if he was drunk or if he took if he took something. Yeah,
he was
under the influence. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And if you relive Raw like she relived Raw, we been reliving Raw, you gonna see they play on that later on in Raw.
Yeah, they play on that.
His
didn't he come
substance abuse.
Yeah, didn't they come out fully drunk on one of the matches?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was playing it off on that one or not, but he did a damn job if he was.
I do want to say that it seems like Legend of Doom were kind of Legion of Doom. Sorry, were the fan favorite.
Oh yeah, Legion of Doom were the fan favorite. Sure. I think they came into the WWF as baby faces. I'm not sure, but we just listened to a lot of interviews as well. So.
See, that's kind of not weird. I guess funny that you would think they would be heels just because of the way they dress and everything, but they're actually baby faces.
Let's get into this match. We started off with Ted DiBiase and Hawk of L.O.D. They start off the match. We get a lockup. We get a knee to the midsection from Ted DiBiase to Hawk. A few chops. And then he head to the turnbuckle, threw his head into the turnbuckle, led to a temp Irish whip, but it was reversed by Hawk. But Ted DiBiase used his veteran skills to slide out of the ring and regroup.
When he did slide out of the ring, he was caught by Animal and got hit hit in the back.
Yes.
And then thrown right back into the ring.
Right back into the ring. A little taunt by Animal. And as soon as he got through back in the ring, Hawk was there to deliver a clothesline, sending Ted right back out of the ring. And then he was met by Hawk again with another clothesline. A taunt. The fans going wild. L.O.D. starting the match. Crazy. Now we got IRS and Animal both in the ring. IRS started off with some nice punches, trying to get back the momentum, but was quickly stopped after he tried a little Irish whip and ended up getting, after he got a powerful Irish whip into the corner. It was powerful, man. Animal was tough.
And then isn't that when he slid out too?
He was trying to slide out, and Animal stopped him.
Animal stepped on his tie, and I think it was Bobby the Brain Heenan that said, "Oh my gosh, he stepped on his tongue."
yeah, and picked him up by his tie. I thought that was a cool moment as well. Kick to the midsection. A power press slam and a pin attempt broke up by Ted DiBiase. He kind of came in the ring. The Animal tagged Hawk in, and they did a mini tag move. If you know me, I call mini tag moves. Something like when they tag their partner in, and then he lift his arm up, and the tag team partner come give him uppercut to the fucking uppercut to his underarm pit, or just some wild shit. Or when he jumped from the second rope and give him an elbow to the arm. That's mini tag moves to me. So that's basically what they did. So now we got IRS and Hawk in the ring. Arm lock by IRS. He was trying to get momentum, and then a rake of the eye from IRS to Hawk. It led to a sleeper hold. An Irish whip into a standing sleeper hold, and the crowd was cheering for Hawk. It was a momentum switch for the Money in Corporate. You know what I'm saying? And then they went into like the 3 arm raise spot, like when they raise his arm 3 times, and then he get the momentum and let him know that he's not submitting and he's not KO. So the crowd was cheering on Hawk, and he ended up finding a way and finding some strength to break out of the submission by backing IRS into the turnbuckle, followed by Irish whip and a clothesline combination. Now that led into the first little part where it's like, okay, something might be up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hawk got on the top rope and went for a diving clothesline attempt. IRS ducked, so it was failed. It was a failed diving clothesline attempt. And Hawk rolled out of the ring, and that's when I'm like, okay, that was extra.
Yeah. Because
he had to roll out of the ring, but I understand they probably had this match script or whatever or not. Ted DiBiase was able to come around while Hawk was out of the ring, get a few strikes in while the ref was distracted with IRS and Animal. Animal was running around the ring trying to get IRS. The ref was distracted a lot during this match, but these are 2 good tag teams, and then the Money in Corporate, they just got heel tactics to distract the ref or whatever.
And I do want to mention that the managers kind of didn't get involved in the match per se. They kind of got involved with each other because Jimmy Hart was holding like a microphone the whole time, talking the whole time through a microphone, or a bullhorn or whatever those things are called. So he was doing that the whole time, and then there was one part when I think all of them were fighting in the ring at one point. Then like Jimmy Hart made the way over to the L.O.D's manager. I was trying to talk shit, and then L.O.D's manager almost chased him around to the other side. But I just want to mention that because usually the managers don't get too involved, but I thought that was kind of funny. They didn't get involved in the match per se, but it was kind of like that. Yeah. And plus they were banging a lot on the mats.
And they can play a mini story outside of the ring, especially for the live crowd. That's when they can really get on for the live crowd.
Rocco
Rocco and shit. He's like, Rocco can't save you right now. Let me get back to it. So Ted DiBiase was getting in some illegal strikes to the legal L.O.D. member Hawk. He was outside the ring after he did the little diving clothesline or whatever. Now this one I realized something might be up because Ted DiBiase tried to give him a body slam, and I know Ted he a veteran. He don't really be fucking up. And when he tried to body slam Hawk, you can tell it was a fucked up body slam, and usually that's because the opposite person wasn't trying to help you with the body slam.
Yeah, and you could tell his legs hit before he hit.
Yeah, he had to really try to pick Cuz up. He wasn't helping him with the body slam.
Yeah, he wasn't. Hawk he was putting all his weight on him.
Yeah, Hawk got to help him with the body slam. Yeah. So Ted just gave him like a shitty body slam outside the ring, and I'm like, okay. Hawk was like, he was working because Hawk is a good seller. Don't get me wrong, but it was like some parts he was giving Ted some trouble outside the ring. So Ted threw him back in the ring. It ended up leading into like a tag team move by the Money Incorporated. They threw him into the turnbuckles. And IRS was the legal man. He led into 3 elbows from IRS. Them was some dope elbows, which led into a 2 count by IRS. And this was when like the second shit I noticed from this match.
Hulk threw him into the ref.
Threw him like a power throw. You know how like the Big Show and Kane and Undertaker throw motherfuckers off on him and like Braun Strowman and shit like that. He did this to IRS, and I don't think IRS was expecting that. Yeah. I'm not sure. He flew into the referee and
the ref probably wasn't expecting it either.
And as soon as he flew into the referee, the first thing he did, he looked at my man's Ted, went over there and tagged Ted DiBiase and went back in the middle of the ring and gave Hawk a rake of an eye before exiting the ring. Now Ted was slamming Hawk head into the turnbuckle a couple times. Didn't really do too much and quickly tagged IRS in. Now me personally, knowing that we know that Hawk was kind of under the influence in this match, I believe Ted was in there trying to let him know like chill. He tagged IRS right back in the ring, and this is the part where you noticed and you let me know. IRS was got tagged right back in the ring, and he put Hawk into a sleeper hold. But in order to get him where he wanted him to go, he had to pull his pants down. Well, pull him by his pants to get him down.
To like lead him to sit
the mat.
Down.
Yeah, to lead him to the mat. And I'm like, okay, now I see what you're saying on that part. Let him down by his pants with the sleeper hold or whatever, to put him in the sleeper hold or whatever. And the Animal tried to get back in, to try to get in the ring to help, but it led to a good heel tactics from Money Incorporated, because they began to do illegal tags, getting back and forth into the ring, they were, like, choking him out.
Like, whoever was on the outside would put their foot on the other guy's foot that was inside the ring. Yeah. To, like,
give him more leverage.
Some type of leverage.
Yeah, on the sleeper hold. So they did that for a minute. Kept rotating on the heel, quick tag. The ref was peeping in, but they some vets. They're like, man, you ain't hear us clap? You ain't hear the tag? Right. That's, good heel tactics. They gonna clap to make it seem like they tagged in. Right. So end up being Ted in the ring. Needed the chest to Hawk, a quick 2 count. Then he threw his head in. Ted was throwing his head into the turnbuckle pretty a couple times. I ain't gonna lie. Another attempt by Ted to throw his head into the turnbuckle, but it was reversed by Hawk. Hawk threw his head into the turnbuckle. I know that's a lot, y'all, but just bear with me. So now both of them on the ground. They attempting to do the hot tag, but Ted was able to tag IRS into the ring first. And IRS quickly grabbed Hawk, started beating him up, made sure he wasn't getting to his corner. A few punches led to an Irish whip, but the clothesline was reversed by Hawk, and that led into like a clothesline botch. I'm not sure if that was supposed to be a double clothesline, and I say that for obvious reasons. You'll feel me in a second. You'll understand in a second. But the clothesline was like botch. I thought he was gonna do like his diving shoulder block. You know what I'm saying? That's like some patent shit they do. But it was like botch. IRS fell and sold for it, but then that's when you saw Hawk kind of lean over and sell it like he was like busy and shit like that. And then when you know that he was under the influence, it said, like you said, you noticed when he fell.
His fall might have not like pointed to him, because everybody be like, oh yeah, him falling like that might have been the sign that he was
I think he was kind of just playing
it off. But that's what
off.
people would think. Yeah. But I thought he was just playing it off. But when he did like finally hit the mat during that thing, I think that's kind of when you could kind of see him a little bit like kind of.
That's whatever he took was kicking in. It was definitely kicking in by this time of the match. So like I said, that they did the tag. I mean, they did the clothesline shit. But IRS was end up getting a tag to Ted. So
yes. And then Ted.
That's when IRS was holding his feet for Ted DiBiase to hit him. IRS tagged Ted DiBiase in, and he was grabbing Hawk feet and keeping him on the ground, and then Ted came in there and hit him a couple times. Yeah. Ted came in and got a couple strikes in and shit. More heel moves, or I don't understand. They probably were just trying to communicate with Hawk because they kind of messed up that spot, I think. So they had to restructure this match probably. I'm not sure. That's when they went into another heel spot. They went into a couple heel spots. They was choking him behind the ref's back. Remember they choked. IRS was choking Hawk with the little rope, the little tag rope.
Team rope.
Yeah. He was choking Hawk behind the ref's back, and it led to like a headlock attempt by Ted DiBiase. But that's when the hot tag started to form up, because Hawk was able to picked Ted DiBiase up like 3 times and and basically forced him back into his corner. Yeah. And he made the tag, but more great heel tactics. Money Inc. was popping, bro. They distracted the ref. Yeah, they distracted the ref while they made this tag, so the ref couldn't count that.
And you could see that Animal was a little bit pissed off by it.
So yeah, they couldn't count it as a legal tag. That was good heel tactics, you know what I mean? Which led into IRS getting back in the ring, and it led into a double clothesline from IRS and Hawk. And I think that double clothesline, which knocked both of them out for a second, I think that's the spot they was going for before when they went for the botch, because I think that was the point for that double clothesline. But anyways, they double clothesline each other and it knocked each other out, which led to the hot tag. The hot tag was finally there off the double clothesline. IRS tagged Ted DiBiase in, and that's when Hawk was able to tag Animal in. Animal took control of the match. Irish whip, a crazy shoulder tackle to Ted DiBiase, a drop kick to IRS. He was doing his thing. Kicks to Ted DiBiase, but into the corner. He started, giving Ted that work in the corner. IRS was able to get up, help him out for a minute. They tried to do a tag team attempt, but it was reversed. Quick little double clothesline of both IRS and Ted, knocking them out. It ended up being all 4 men in the ring. Hawk was able to get back into the ring. He started getting some licks in on Ted DiBiase in the corner, setting up something.
And at one point, I do want to interrupt you.
This is the crazy part right here.
Yeah. And at one point, there was a part where Ted was calling Animal a big boy, and Animal didn't like that at all. And Animal started going after Ted, and Ted kind of like hid behind Hulk for a second.
Well, this is the part I'm talking about right here. Animal ended up doing a crazy atomic drop to IRS, and IRS just jumped over the rope.
So that's when they jumped over the rope.
Getting out the ring. So L.O.D. did a tag team move. They did like an Irish whip clothesline combination to Ted DiBiase, and they tried to do the Doomsday device. So it was Doomsdays. I believe so truly. I truly believe both of them felt they was too big for the Doomsday. It would have ended bad probably. They went for the Doomsday device. They attempted it, but Ted was smart. Whatever they came up in the back, I believe they came up with this in the back. They went for that as the finish, but Jimmy was able to distract the ref, which led to IRS getting in the ring, giving Animal a drop kick, ending that whole situation. Hawk was stuck on the top ropes, and then he jumped down, hitting IRS. It got crazy for a quick second when he hit IRS. IRS set up the little spot. He like switched over, rolled over, which the shit you saw, you know what I'm saying, and got outside of the ring right there by Jimmy.
Yeah, because he realized it was wrong. Yeah,
it led to an Irish whip from Animal to Ted. He hit his own partner, led to a power slam. They got the match over with. It was real dysfunctional. I'm sorry if y'all had to follow along with that one, but it was crazy. But it led to us going into some interviews. I think that double clothesline was the spot for the hot tag, but instead it was a botch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think they had to read. After that, you got to go over some shit. You gotta script. You gotta scrap that shit for a second, and you gotta set it up over. You gotta set it up. Yeah, you gotta do it on the fly. Thank you. So when they do it on the fly, somebody had to call that shit. So IRS and Ted probably had to call that shit. They did what they had to do to get the spot back. You know what I'm saying? They finally did the spot back, got the hot tag. And whatever they decided to do at the end, they probably was like, fuck that. My man's fucked up. I'm not taking the Doomsday advice, and this nigga fucked up. He about to fly off the top ropes. That was smart. If they did it on the fly, in the back, whatever, that was smart.
Yeah, because Ted was probably putting it together like, I'm definitely not about to take it right
and
now.
I'm not going to put IRS in that. That's why Ted was dope. It was dope. We led us to a Ted DiBiase podcast. Everybody got a pod. I'm sorry, y'all. We've been talking for a minute. But we saw a little clip of them talking about that 1992 SummerSlam joint on the TED podcast. And he said that Animal did go to Vince before the matchup because they were supposed to go second. I was wondering why they put the tag team matchup first, and the second matchup was tag team Virgil.
Is kind of crazy to put first.
And then you go into Virgil. Well, yeah, and then you go into like a squash match with Virgil and Nails. That probably would have been first on a pay-per-view, especially on a pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? So he said that they were expected to go second that night, but when Animal noticed that Hawk was under the influence, he went to Vince and let him know that I don't know if he would be conscious or just able to perform properly by the time we go on. So they switched it, made them go first. So that's just a little tidbit. I watched.
Yeah,
the
they
Ted
said that
DiBiase
they
joint.
think he might have took some kind of pill.
Maybe a lot of wrestlers took relaxers and shit like that back in the day. So, but if you drink with it as well, it's fucked up. Cuz said he was hitting people with the bike. We watched another little clip. He said he was hitting people with the motorcycle. I'm not sure if that's true or not. So,
I feel like I've heard about something like that.
Another note: Hawk quit the WWF. They said Hawk quit the WWF at the SummerSlam. Technically, Animal stayed and was supposed to be repackaged. They didn't fly back. They didn't show up to TV.
Yeah, they said they were suspended for six weeks after SummerSlam. It was actually him and Berserker.
Yeah, and Berserker. It wasn't Animal. It was Hawk and the Berserker.
Yeah, it was Hawk and Berserker.
But they came back because you will see them on like the first 5 episodes of Raw. They were back in 1993. So after the first matchup, we saw a promo with Ric Flair and Mean Gene Okerlund. So we gonna react the promo. I'm gonna be Mean Gene. Bree gonna be Ric Flair. Let's get into it. With me at this time is the former World Wrestling Federation champion, the man who was disgruntled the moment they announced the main event for SummerSlam, for it was he who felt he should be the number 1 contender to face the Macho Man Randy Savage. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Rest assured, little man, it was not I alone that was disgruntled over the fact that the great Ric Flair was denied his opportunity to regain the World Wrestling Federation Championship right here at SummerSlam. After all, we ain't talking about the bright lights and the big cities. We gotta be talking London, England. And when you're talking SummerSlam and when you're talking World Wrestling Federation, you gotta be talking Ric Flair. Woo!
Ric Flair, I couldn't help but notice you're wearing your robe and your wrestling attire. What's going on here?
That's because anybody that knows anything about Ric Flair knows that he stays ready for any kind of action.
And speaking of action, Ric Flair, one man we know who's going to be seeing action tonight is your executive consultant, Mr. Perfect. For his public knowledge, he's going to be in the corner of either the Macho Man Randy Savage or the Ultimate Warrior. As a matter of fact, I saw you and Mr. Perfect show up outside Wembley Stadium earlier today in a long limousine, Ric Flair. You two have been embroiled in this controversy of the main event since the day it was announced. As a matter of fact, this match may end up going down in history as the most controversial match in the World Wrestling Federation history. Now then, I'm going to put you on the spot. In whose corner will Mr. Perfect be tonight? Oh, come on. Is he going to be in the corner of Macho Man? Don't do me like this. Is he going to be in the corner of the Ultimate Warrior? Ric Flair, enough is enough. And like the great Winston Churchill said, now is the time. And now is the time we demand to know the whereabouts of Mr. Perfect for SummerSlam.
Why, he's in his dressing room, of course.
But whose dressing room?
The dressing room of the winner. Who else? Woo!
Oh, please.
Woo!
Shawn Mooney, let's get over to you. So after that great promo with Mean Gene and Ric Flair, they went into a promo with Shawn Mooney and Virgil. Virgil talked his trash about Nails and how Nails beat the Boss Man prior. And it went straight into the second matchup, Nails versus Virgil, which is supposed to be the first matchup. So it kind of fuck with the momentum of the pay-per-view a little bit. Nothing too spectacular to take from this match. You got anything? We
kind of choked him the whole match.
Yeah, Nails just basically choked him the whole match. They kind of played the power play game. Virgil couldn't take him down, gave him a clothesline and a drop kick. We saw not so good selling from Nails, Virgil. They were just kind of everywhere. Very, very quick match.
And they basically talked about how Boss Man and Nails had their match previously. And that I think Bobby the Brain Heenan mentioned that he was arrested because he forgot to pay his parking ticket. And that's why the cops picked him up.
Yeah, they was really trying to push Nails a little bit.
Yeah.
But he ended up winning with a sleeper hold. Nothing too great to mention, but we did watch it and took it for what it was worth. Nails got the W.
You forgot the main part after Nails got
He started beating him up.
He grabbed. I guess he had. I didn't see it there before, so I don't know if it was there the whole match. But he grabbed a nightstick. Yeah. Started to hit Virgil in the stomach, knocked him down. Then he started choking him with the nightstick, and then eventually after that, he just kind of just kicked him right out, and then just kind
of yeah, basically beat him up, get more heat on him after the match, and then they beat him up with the Boss Man stick. So I guess the Boss Man got to come back and get his revenge soon on Nails.
90274.
90274. That was his
his inmate number.
So after that quick squash match of Virgil and Nails, we got Alfred Hayes investigating the whereabouts of Mr. Perfect, and he was sitting outside of Macho Man's dressing room, basically letting everybody know. Yeah, he was banging on the door. The door is locked. He's trying to see where is Mr. Perfect. Okay, let's get into the next match. We saw Shawn Michaels HBK versus the model Rick Martel. Now, we already probably discussed the fact that Shawn Michaels was supposed to go against Bret Hart tonight for the IC title, but things changed, made a switch. It was Bret Hart versus the Bulldog since it was in London, England. Bret Hart felt that if it was going to be in Washington, D.C., he could have won against Shawn Michaels in a ladder match, but by being in London, he wanted to go against the British Bulldog, drop the belt to the Bulldog in his hometown, which is dope. So, let's get into the match. You want to get into the match? We try to briefly talk about it. Not too special, but they did their thing. Now, it was a special rule with this match, stipulation with this match.
Yeah, she did an interview before this match, and she
who was Sensational Sherry, yes, Shawn Michaels' manager.
Yeah, Sensational Sherry. At the time. Did an interview before this match with Mean Gene, and she just kind of told him that she had a stipulation where neither of them could hit each other in the face because they were too handsome, basically.
Right. So I should have probably started at the little video package that they did. They played a video package during that interview with Mean Gene and Sensational Sherry, kind of showing how the beef escalated and the tension escalated between Rick and HBK over the last month or so before the pay-per-view. Shawn was a heel at this time, and Rick Martel was a heel. So this is a heel versus heel match at that. So y'all remember that. Y'all take that in accountability as well. But anyway, they showed a couple things. Then Rick Martel came out the next week and started flirting with Sensational Sherry. Then the following week, Sensational Sherry came out during his match and kind of got his attention, and they was somewhat flirting or whatnot. Now the match started off with a lockup, and then Rick Martel got a side headlock on Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels tried to do an Irish whip out of the headlock, but Rick Martel kept the headlock, and I liked it. I thought that was sweet. People probably should do that a little bit more. They probably do. So he kept him in the side headlock. After that, Shawn was able to get out of the headlock, and then they did an Irish whip combination, which was nice, man, showing their agility and speed. Shawn Michaels did 2 leapfrogs, which I thought was nice, but it ended with a Rick Martel cartwheel reversal. He do this cartwheel reversal or whatever or not, and then started doing jumping jacks, so I thought that was dope. It was nice. They had a lot of combinations, you know what I'm saying? Again, they weren't punching each other or kicking each other in the face. So like I said, it led to another Irish whip combination, them just showing off their agility and speed, and then Shawn Michaels was able to do a drop kick and then taunt. And now he was taunting, doing his little HBK thing, you know what I'm saying? He was the heel at this time. He looked at Sensational Sherry, was taunting with her. That allowed Rick Martel to get a couple strikes in on Shawn Michaels, which led to him giving him some knees to the midsection in the corner, and then he Irish whipped Shawn Michaels to the other corner. But Shawn Michaels was able to reverse that. Rick Martel went for a flying body press, and it missed. Shawn Michaels just slid to the side. So they were just showing their agility and, you know what I'm saying, how they, I guess, trying to one-up each other. You know what I'm saying? So after the flying body press was missed and Shawn Michaels slid to the side, Rick was able to throw Shawn Michaels out the ring some kind of way, and then Sensational Sherry was trying to help Shawn Michaels, and then Rick came out of the ring and gave her a hug and was flirting with her and shit. I thought that was sweet. And then he went over there and continued to beat Shawn Michaels' ass and threw him back in the ring. That's when you saw Shawn Michaels kind of get control a little bit. He was able to get an arm wrist lock on Rick Martel, and that led him to another spot. They had 4 or 5 different spots in this match. when they both was pulling each other by their hair down to the mat. And as they got up, they basically threatened to hit each other in the face. So they went through that little storytelling moment for a minute. And then it led to a reversal. Something happened, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna, talk about it too much, but something happened and it led to like a reversal, which led to a scoop pin combination or something like that.
As Vince, or it was either Vince or Bobby, the Brain Heenan said that it was a cheek to cheek.
Like some cheek to cheek type deal. So they was basically like pulling each other's trunks down. And getting the roll up pin, and you can see their ass crack basically. Now we say that to say this: we didn't talk about Sensational Sherry's outfit. She basically came out there. It was a nice outfit, but she had both of her butt cheeks out, and that was it. They talked about it. They played on that a lot.
Played on it.
We'll get to that at the end, but they definitely played on that a lot. But it made me suggest, and Brianna suggest that Shawn Michaels was pushing the envelope all the way back in 1992. Yeah, just by coming out there, showing some ass cheeks. You know what I'm saying? And that's before the DX. So you just see some things. And the attention I thought that may have sparked by Bret Hart being able to change up that match with Vince, which made sense though. They sold 80,000 tickets, and they in 11 hours or something like that, and it broke some type of record for call-in tickets or whatnot. Don't call me, but I saw an interview. So it was big. So Bret Hart it was a good idea. That's why Vince went with it. We going to England, because it was at a point in time they didn't know if they was going to be SummerSlam was going to be in England or Washington D.C. Okay. So Bret Hart, I was going to wait till the Bret Hart match to say it, but I might as well say it now. I saw an interview and Bret Hart said he was very cool with Mr. Perfect and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and at that time they was doing commentary a little bit with Vince, so they knew shit ahead of time. So when they found out that he was going to drop the title to Shawn Michaels, they came and told him. And they let him know, we don't know if it's going to be in Washington, D.C. or whatever. So Bret Hart went to Vince and started talking to Vince, you know what I'm saying? Then he came up with the idea, you know what I'm saying, if it's in Washington, D.C., we do the ladder match with Shawn. Bret claimed that Vince didn't know anything about the ladder match, but Bret was doing that with his pops down there in Arbery or whatever, in Canada. So he set up a ladder match between them two on a TV taping, and they did it, but Vince didn't see it. He was in a meeting. That's what Bret Hart said. But anyways, they end up going to London, and Bret Hart was like, I drop it to Davey Boy, British Bulldog, in London, then he could drop it to Shawn in the States. And it made more sense because Davey Boy was a big deal in England. And that was a heel. That was a babyface versus babyface match. And this right here is a heel versus heel. But get back to this match. Sorry I took y'all out of the sync, but I hope y'all followed along. So Shawn Michaels basically was pushing the envelope with the ass cheek shit. But like we said, they did a scoop pin combination where they both were showing each other ass crack, basically. So that led into some more, tussling. Shawn Michaels was able to get the Sweet Chin music off, but not to the face. So he kicked him in his chest and got a 2 count. It led to bickering and shit like that, which led to the 2 count. The 2 count was a dirty pin. It wasn't even a 2 count. Forgive me, y'all. I messed up. He put his foot on the rope, but the ref caught him. He tried to do a heel pin, so he was too busy mouthing off with the ref, and that let Rick Martel scoop pin him. And it was only a 2 count. They got up. They was mad. Shawn Michaels finally slapped him in the face. Rick Martel slapped him in the face, and then Sensational Sherry just fainted and got their attention. Yeah. So once she got their attention.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because you could tell Shawn seen her first, so then he kind of looked at Rick Martel, and then Rick Martel was like, "What?" Kind of looked at him like, "What?" And then he looked over, and then they both are just looking at her at the side of the ring. But you could tell Shawn went over to her because obviously that's supposed to be his manager, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Nudged her out the ring because they needed her to be out the ring.
He didn't kick her, but it was kind of with his foot, he kind of just nudged her out. So she fell. And what we were talking about earlier, where her outfit and her butt being out and everything, they always made sure whenever she fell, some type of way that she fell on her stomach so that her ass was shown. Yeah. Pretty much.
But I liked how Shawn Michaels made sure she got outside the ring because they needed to get counted out. Yeah. So this match ended up in a no contest. Just a long story short, both of them was out there basically rumbling and scrapping with each other to get the attention. Well, basically both of them was trying to show some attention to Sherry because she was quote unquote had fainted, and then they were just scrapping with each other.
When she first fainted, Shawn grabbed her and then was like taking her out of the ring because he was like...
They should have kissed her. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Somebody should have kissed her. I thought Shawn should have kissed her, but he looked like he didn't want to kiss her. It was a moment where he could have. I mean, he could have, but Rick Martel went out of the ring. Yeah, he was kind of waiting on Rick Martel, you could tell, so he tried to fan her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they were trying to give her like mouth resuscitation.
Yeah.
So they were
Bobby
doing like
Brain
chest.
said something else.
Yeah, they were doing chest compressions. Oh yeah, he said, yeah, Bobby the Brain Heenan said, oh, they're gonna try to give her mouth restitution. I was like, wait, that is definitely not the word. And I really cracked up for a good like probably.
Yeah, you was
2
rolling
minutes
at that last night.
It was just hilarious to me. But so that was Rick Martel that was doing that because he kind of like knocked Shawn to the side.
Yeah.
So Shawn was kind of dazed and wasn't paying attention.
No contest, and that led on for like another 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. Them fighting up the ramp.
Sherry was kind of
kept hitting her.
Still fainted.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels was carrying her on his shoulder. Then Rick Martel came and hit Shawn Michaels. She fell. Rick Martel was carrying her. And then Shawn Michaels came back. Then Rick Martel left and got a bucket of water and threw it on Sensational Sherry to kind of wake her up.
Yeah, and then
that was that.
Shawn chased after him, and Sensational Sherry was just like freaking out, like, what?
Yeah, really? it was like a story, and Vince McMahon made sure he played off of that story, helped them out with the commentary. Like, she's not fainted. She hasn't fainted. How is she holding on to Shawn Michaels if she's fainted?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? She was holding on to his neck and shit.
Yeah, she moved her hands like 2 times to like get like her hands.
And she actually got up, and then, you know, she showed them that she was just acting. You know what I'm saying? She wanted their attention. She liked it that they was fighting over her. Put it like that. She enjoyed it. Put it like that.
At the end, like the end of the.
She enjoyed it.
At the end of the entrance or whatever you want to call it, she like woke up and like looked at him and seen that they were still fighting and then pretended to pass back out. And either Bobby or Vince was like, "Hey, she's not passed out. I just seen her get up. I seen her eyes. She was looking at me." So
overall, I think it was a cool concept. I give them that. You know what I'm saying? Not to hit each other in the face. I think that was a cool concept. Yeah, when you know the backstory and you know Shawn Michaels was supposed to probably win the IC title, I think it's just more there. But that was that matchup. No contest. We had heel versus heel. That was dope. Dope way to end it, I guess. Heel versus heel type deal. It was dope to see HBK as a heel. I ain't gonna even hold you up, man. And Sensational Sherry is dope as a manager as well. And with that, it led into a Nasty Boy quick promo with the Nasty Boys. They was talking shit, talking trash about Sensational Sherry. And wondering why they don't got the number 1 contender slot for the tag team titles. And then Jimmy Hart was right there with them as well.
Manager, they kind of were like, "Hey, why don't we have a match? Are we gonna have a match after that? When are we gonna become the
number 1 contenders?
Number 1 contenders, da da da." And then you could tell that
Jimmy Hart
was kind of scared of them.
Is nervous.
Yeah, scared, nervous, whatever you want to call it. He was getting scared, and he was like, "But Money Incorporated."
Yeah, that's Money Incorporated. So he was basically saying like Money Inc. probably got that slot.
Yeah,
but then he caught himself like, no, we good. Y'all got it. Y'all got it.
He's like, yeah, you guys have a chance.
Yeah, y'all got it.
And they started freaking out and like attacking him, hugging him.
Okay, let's get into this 4th match. We saw the Beverly Brothers versus
the Natural Disasters, who are the tag team champs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And they put the tag team championships on the line in this match. Overall, I think it was a good match. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. Typhoon stayed in the match pretty much the distance of the match. Yeah, they were the Beverly Brothers were able to wear him down. Heel tactics.
Those belly bumps at the beginning were pretty.
Yeah, I should have started right there. Yeah, they started off hot. Natural Disaster started off hot, was whooping their ass. I thought it was going to be a squash match. I thought everybody get them out the way, but Beverly Brothers ended up getting the momentum. Kept the momentum for quite some time using heel tactics. Earthquake couldn't get in the ring. They even used a metal object. They manager threw a metal object in there. They was able to use that. Looked like they might win the match on some real stuff, but at the end, Earthquake was able to get in there, get the hot tag, and destroyed him and put his move on him, and that was that. I always respect Natural Disaster because they was like I remember them from the first video game I ever had on the great Nintendo joints. So they was on that wrestling game, and they was down there.
And by the way, for anybody that didn't know, our boy Shawn left during this match.
Yeah, he left right after this match, which makes me. Yes, he left right after that match that he had with Rick Martel, which made me think that he was pissed off that he didn't get that IC title match, but he just didn't want to stay. You know what I'm saying? And watching that the rest of the shit. He just did. Maybe he did. Wanted to go see London, have fun.
Right.
But yeah, that was a good match if you ask me. The story was cool, even led up to a hot tag, a lot of double team moves. It was a dope match. Y'all should check that match out. Out of the 4 matchups, I say it's the best match so far. Even though Shawn Michaels and was a decent match, they told their story very well. Ted DiBiase in the first matchup would have been better if the shit that happened. Mm-hmm. So right now that's the best matchup. So after that match, we went into the Repo Man Crush Way. I think it was an interview before that match.
Yeah, there was an interview before that match. They've been putting interviews, it seems like, in between every match. But Mean Gene interviewed the Bushwhackers, and they kind of mentioned about them being in London and that they were going to visit the royal family. And they also, of course, mentioned what corner that Mr. Perfect might be in and stuff like that. So they keep playing on the Mr. Perfect angle a lot during
the whole episode, which I don't mind. Do you like the promos and the interviews in between the matches?
Yeah, like no, I actually do. Especially the people that they pick so far, like, interesting to actually watch. Like, obviously Ric Flair, everybody's gonna be drawn into Ric Flair every time. Right. Sensational Sherry, obviously, right, for the boys, and plus for the girls even, because it's Shawn's
it built that manager. Match. Yeah. Alfred was also a quick cut scene with Alfred. He was still looking for Mr. Perfect. He was outside of the Ultimate Warriors dressing room, and he tried to enter it. Got denied. Somebody pushed the door shut. So he's still looking for Mr. Perfect.
And he claimed that was rude. It's rude going into somebody's dressing room.
Yeah, he was like, I'm going to do something that I normally don't do, and I'm just going to open up the door and see what happens. Just a problem. And then try to open up the door. Somebody shut the door. Probably was Ultimate Warrior. Shut the door. He was like, that is rude. So salute to Alfred. So that led into Repo Man and Crush. Like, all right, Salute to Repo Man, though, because I thought he just hit the scene on when Monday Night Raw started in 93, but actually he was on, pay-per-views in 92. Mm-hmm. So salute to Repo Man, even though I wasn't a big fan of this matchup. Crush, he cool. I know they was trying to push him, but I wasn't really feeling Crush, but it was a cool match. Crush showed off a couple moves, and you got anything to say?
I was going to say, hopefully Repo Man doesn't steal Macho's Man hat again.
Yeah, that was cool. But he ain't still a champ, though, because it was 93 when he started.
Oh, it was?
Yeah,
okay,
Macho Man won the champ. See, he's the champ now. Went from the champ to commentator. Yeah, Vince didn't like that he left and went to WCW. And then what I heard, he just kind of like left. And Vince kind of saw him. And he took Slim Jim with him. But Vince and Macho Man was a good fucking combination.
He took a bag of Slim Jims with him.
A money bag for sure. But, a money bag for sure, but with that being said, Crush and Repo Man, they went at it for a minute, and Crush ended up getting the win. Repo Man got a few moves in, like, slightly during the end.
I did want to mention at the very beginning that Crush lifted up Repo Man, and I just want to say, I wrote on my notes that I said, overhead presses 280 pounds of Repo.
Yeah, because he did like a gorilla overhead press.
Yeah, he did a couple of times
and
too.
Then bench pressed him a couple of times. Well, not bench pressed him, but pressed him.
Yeah.
So overall, I ain't gonna rate this match, but Crush was able to get the win. He did his move, kind of crushing his head.
Crushing his head. Everybody was waiting for it.
Yeah.
So he turned around and was like, "I'm gonna crush his head."
It's out of there. But salute to Crush. They was pushing Crush for a minute though. Since 92 and 93, it wasn't
then
going
it was
nowhere.
The doink shit after the fact.
That's all the way in 93 though.
Mm-hmm. I know, I'm saying it was the doink shit.
You feel like that was the beginning of his push.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. He was going against Repo Man.
But he was actually at a fucking pay-per-view.
Yeah,
they both
in
were.
92. Yeah,
that's crazy.
But let's get into one of the main events of the night, the WWF Championship Match. Macho Man Randy Savage, the champion, versus the Ultimate Warrior. How did you feel about this match, Bree?
Like I mentioned before, Ultimate Warrior, my first time seeing him wrestle. So that was kind of cool. I feel like Ultimate Warrior has like a lot of energy, and throughout the match, it was kind of cool to see like when you thought, hey, he should be losing energy, he shouldn't be able to get back up from this, or he shouldn't be like whatever. That he like kind of put like emphasis on it, and was kind of like
he still showed
like shaking and like building up his energy.
Yeah.
Like with his body movements, I guess.
Yeah.
And so then you would just see him like stand up and then knock, give him like a freaking what do you call it? Freaking
clothesline.
Clothesline. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Clothesline, or like throw him against the ropes or something crazy. Like when you thought like, oh, he shouldn't have anything left after what Macho Man just did to him, then he would show how much energy he still actually had. So that was actually pretty cool. And Macho Man put up a fight and he fought for his belt. So, I mean, at the beginning it was kind of a little bit
the Warrior
shaky.
was whipping him up in the beginning, though.
Yeah.
And Macho Man showed his selling ability. Macho Man could sell. The Warrior was pretty decent at selling, too, though. You know what I'm saying? When it became Macho Man's turn, the Warrior was one of my favorite wrestlers. Like, probably my first favorite wrestler from when I can remember. As far as I can remember, he was my first favorite wrestler. And I must say that this is probably my favorite match I've seen with the Warrior. Now, I know that he had a rival and a storyline, a feud with Ravishing Rick Rude at a point in time, and that's what I remember him from. I remember that being like his nemesis when I was younger or whatever the fuck. So I know that he probably got some good matchups with Ravishing Rick, and like we already relived the championship match with him and Hulk Hogan, and I thought that was a decent match, but this matchup with him and Macho Man was actually good. Macho Man was able to push Warrior to his limits. They had a fairly lengthy decent match. It lasted quite a while. Like we said, Warrior was whooping on Macho Man, and Macho Man was whooping on Warrior. Then to have Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect involved in the matchup was fire. They ended up coming out there. That was a twist. So then when I look up, I got like 4 of my favorite wrestlers of all time. You got Macho Man, Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect, and Ultimate Warrior all involved in the match. That's kind of like classic as fuck right there. That's legendary shit.
Yeah, and then we did see that they didn't really have a corner that they were in.
No.
That the first thing they did was knock
Macho
Man down.
Swept him off his feet.
They swept him off of his feet. And so everybody kind of thought, oh, they're on Ultimate Warrior side. So then they like came over to pick Ultimate Warrior up. It was Mr. Perfect came in the ring to pick Ultimate Warrior up, and then he held him so that Ric Flair couldn't take out, like, what were those, brass knuckles? Yeah. So he took out his brass knuckles and hit Ultimate Warrior. So everybody was like, wait, is he on Macho Man's side then?
Yeah, they thought Macho Man sold out, but then they noticed that Macho Man never really see them helping him. So every time they had interfered and attacked the Warrior, it was behind Macho Man and the referee back. So Macho Man never saw it. Then when he finally realized, like, hold up, because the Warrior was putting the work on him, putting the boost to him, and then all of a sudden he realized the Warrior was down, and Macho Man like, hold up, what the fuck? Yeah. So he was looking at Ric Flair, looking at Mr. Perfect, talking to the ref. He like, man, what was y'all doing? So it was like he was about to go for his patented elbow, which he hit his elbow once after they hit him with the brass knuckles, and Ultimate Warrior kicked up with a 2 count. So then he went for he was about to go for the elbow again, which probably one of the best moves and finishers, and it's just like that. Macho Man was a beast. And then it's crazy though, me being, the age I am now, I wanted Macho Man to win, but I know back in the day I probably would have wanted the Warrior. But Macho Man was my guy too though, man. You couldn't help but love Macho Man. But anyways, he went for the elbow, and instead of going for the elbow, he jumped at Ric Flair, and Ric Flair hit him with the chair and his knee, probably setting up some shit for them a little later. Yeah. And then they just, he couldn't get back in the ring, got counted out, so the Warrior won the match, but didn't win the belt. I thought that was okay way to end it, because this was a babyface versus babyface match. So we saw a heel versus heel match with Shawn Michaels and Ravishing Rick. this is a babyface versus babyface, and then we're gonna see another babyface versus babyface with Bulldog and Bret Hart. So that's kind of interesting, how Vince set this whole joint up.
Yeah, true.
But after the match, Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect was beating on Macho Man till Ultimate Warrior came over there and saved him, and basically ran him out the arena. And then he came back and helped Macho Man, did the babyface thing.
Very sportsmanlike of him.
Yeah.
And it kind of showed that they were baby faces.
After that, they went to the locker room with Mean Gene Okerlund interviewing Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect after their interference in the WWF Championship match. And we gonna try to react this joint. I'm gonna be Mean Gene at points. She gonna be Mean Gene at points. I'm gonna be Ric Flair. She gonna be Mr. Perfect this time. Yep. And we're going to get right into it, starting off with Mean Gene. All right, this was the SummerSlam you thought you'd never see, and there was an incident out there tonight that I thought what the hell were you trying to prove? There was no deal.
You just be quiet.
There was not a deal.
There was a deal, all right? It was a done deal between Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect. A lot of people might think that the other deal didn't go down. Not a chance. That was plan A, and now plan B. Little man, divot head, is in full charge. Plan B, champ, tell him the way it is. Oh, come on, this has got to be the biggest.
I should have had the shot to begin with, not the Ultimate Warrior. But now you ask the Warrior what he wants in life. Well, it's got to be me. And baby, I'm waiting on you. Plan A, maybe that slid by. But now we're looking at Plan B. And baby, the way I see it, the two most perfect men alive today are this gentleman and myself.
You two men, this is an absolute sham of the World Wrestling Federation. Is this bow tie straight, champ, huh?
You're a killer,
Is this the
brother.
greatest thing you've ever seen?
Woo, you're a killer. And in closing, let me tell the whole world, and especially one man, something savage. That belt is coming back to me. Woo!
Don't tell him about Plan
Forget
B.
your
Don't
plans.
tell him about Plan B.
There's so much confusion. You two are out of your mind. Let's get back to ringside. Woo! Woo! Now after that crazy entertaining promo from Bree and I, we went straight into a match with the Undertaker and Kamala, and to be honest, this was not one of the best for me. I do remember Kamala. I only remember Kamala for his feud with Undertaker from being a kid. My latter memories, back in the day. But watching this, it was a quick match. Nothing really to discuss. Undertaker would let him sail
I
a little bit.
Stuff down.
Well, I'll let you talk about the match.
So it kind of began with everybody thinking that Undertaker was going to do it first. Kamala tried to do something. The Undertaker was like, nope, and started choking him out. Then somehow...
They also came down in like a hearse.
Hearse, yeah. But somehow Kamala got a little bit over the Undertaker at one point. So then the Undertaker was kind of like tossed over the ring, but not really because the Undertaker is kind of tall, so whenever he gets flipped out, he kind of lands right on his feet. So he lands right on his feet, and then Kimchi and Harvey Whippleman, I believe is how you say his last name?
Whippleman with the P.
Was on the sides, and they kind of came towards Undertaker, so Undertaker choked both of them. And then he did a good choke slam a little bit after. Some more wrestling moves happened.
Yeah, that was a pretty decent choke slam. He went for the tombstone power driver, and that's when that one.
Yeah, that's when Kimchi interfered. Well, and he wouldn't even had him up in the
DQ.
Air. And Undertaker won by disqualification.
Okay, let's get into this last match, the final match, the main event. Bret Hart, the IC champion, versus the British Bulldog, hometown hero. It was a great match. I'm not gonna go over the match like we previously did. I want y'all to go watch that match. If you're a wrestling fan, you should stop, make some time to go check out SummerSlam 92. Check out this match. And before you do that, go check out some interviews with Bret Hart talking about this match. I looked up a couple interviews, and I just want to go over what Bret Hart is on record stating about this match. So I already told y'all that at first it was supposed to be Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. Shawn Michaels was supposed to win the IC title against Bret Hart at SummerSlam 92, but at that time, Vince didn't know if SummerSlam 92 was going to be located in Washington, D.C. or in England, London, England. So Bret Hart got word through Mr. Perfect, and I believe he said Hacksaw Jim Duggan. They were doing commentary with Vince McMahon at the time, so they knew the inside ideas. They knew the game plan before everybody else. So they came and let him know, like, hey, you about to drop the belt to Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam. Bret Hart went to Vince, from my knowledge, from what I'm hearing from this interviews, he went to Vince with this idea. If we going to SummerSlam 92 in Washington, D.C., I'll go against Shawn Michaels in a ladder match. They even had a match. I believe we talked about this prior. He said, if we go to England, let me go against Davey Boy Smith. It'd be great. Hometown. I'll drop it to him. And I believe he knew that he was big in London as well. He felt like he was big in London as well. So the match was set. They went to England. Vince thought it was a good idea. They sold a lot of tickets. They said they record breaking at that time, ticket sales, how they sold so fast. So it was a good idea for Bret. Probably sparked the beef between him and Shawn Michaels, really. That point right here, I don't know. Even though they did business with each other after this, you know what I mean? But also what I saw from Bret Hart, he said that he took this match very serious. He didn't worry. He knew that, you got to drop the IC title to get into the WWF Championship picture. So he was going to use this to his best ability. So Bret Hart wanted to make sure he had the match down packed, but he couldn't get in contact with British Bulldog from what he was saying. He said he couldn't get in contact with the British Bulldog. The British Bulldog was out hanging out with Jim Neidhart. And they had some drug issues back then, maybe coke, maybe crack, I'm not sure. But Bret Hart, I heard him say it both ways. They said that Bulldog was on a binge and they was just getting high, so he never really got to go over the match with British Bulldog. He didn't see British Bulldog until the day that they left for England. You know what I mean? So that's when British Bulldog and Jim Ironheart let him know basically like what they've been doing. So Bret said he had to come up with the match, the whole match, cram it into British Bulldog head, make him go over the spots and whatnot. He was worried about the match, but Vince McMahon was worried about the match too, because, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think he said Vince McMahon was worried about the match because they did a match at like a dark show, and the match was shit. They really ain't had no chemistry, nothing like that. Him and British Bulldog ain't had no chemistry, and McMahon was like, well, I hope this match at SummerSlam is going to be better than that. And Bret Hart let him know, like, this going to be one of the best matchups ever, and you ain't gonna be able to put nobody on after us. We gonna get it done. So Bret Hart took this match serious, and salute to him. And to know that Bulldog basically got into the play the day before or a couple days prior and had to get it together, I salute Bulldog too, to be out doing your thing, partying like that. He put on a show. But you can tell, and Bret Hart also said this, he said the only thing he don't like about the match is that you can tell he was calling the match, and he really don't like that because he feel like if you can see the wrestler talking, then it's a loss, you know what I mean? But he had to call the match. So if you pay attention to the match, you can see him calling the whole match. You're gonna see sleeper holds and different type of moves and spots for he can let British Bulldog get wind, and they can both get wind. You got to look at it like that. You got to dissect the match. So when he got the sleeper hold, he used so many good spots in order to keep the match going. That's why I was so surprised and just intrigued about, you know what I mean? Like, damn, he really know the game of wrestling, the psychology of wrestling. He brought it on full display in this match. He led Bulldog all the way. He whooped his ass, don't get me wrong. And Bulldog did what he had to do. The finish was good. It was out of nowhere. They both did their finishing move, and both of them basically kicked out or grabbed the rope, and then the other finishes came out of nowhere. The pop was like crazy. Now, only thing I really don't like, but I'm cool with it, is the after the match. I'm not a fan of the bigger star staying in the ring, getting the affection or getting the sympathy from the crowd. He pulled the Hulk Hogan, but I understand how he said it. He understood, like, they both can get a pop, and it set him up. It made him an even bigger baby face, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that it was okay, but he could have kept that, because you really didn't get to see the celebration of Bulldog with the IC title. You get what I'm saying? They had to play along with him just being upset that he lost the belt, and then, you know, they stepbrothers, they did that thing. The sister came out there, the wife came out there. You get what I'm saying? I just feel like British Bulldog should have had a better celebration with the belt, knowing he about to drop it to Shawn Michaels. I guess he just didn't care. But That match is classic. I wanted to go over a couple things I saw from the interview with Bret Hart. Hopefully I didn't miss out on anything, but that match was classic. He called every spot, and they did their thing. A few botches, probably. I know when he did the overhead press. He almost botched that. I don't know if he was supposed to throw Bret outside the ring, but he didn't make it, and Bret was able to grab the ropes and, bounce back real quick. But that match was fire. And one more thing I think I saw in that match was the sharpshooter spot. Bret wanted that sharpshooter spot perfect. He was looking for that spot. They were trying to do a move where they both would have their legs like facing each other so he can put him in the sharpshooter. So they did like 2 spots. I think them 2 spots before the actual sharpshooter spot was them trying to figure it out when he took the suplex off the top rope, and I think it was another one. And then they finally did the double clothesline, and Bret Hart made sure he positioned himself the right way so he can just get the sharpshooter while he was laying on the ground. And I think that was a nod to Ric Flair at the time too. But anyways, he put the sharpshooter on from laying down on the ground. I thought that was dope. And other than that, man, the match was nice. It was a 40-minute match, I think, somewhere up in there. It was a great SummerSlam 92. Salute to Nick. Salute to the subscriber that asked for this review. Hopefully it ain't too long. It was a live event, some live event dark matches as well that went down for SummerSlam 92. You had Tatanka versus the Berserker, Papa Shango versus Tito Santana, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Bushwhackers versus the Mountie and the Nasty Boys. So that's why we saw the Nasty Boys promo, the Bushwhackers promo. Me personally, I probably would have took 1 or 2 of these matchups off of here and swapped them out with the Nails and the Virgil, even though they was giving Nails a push, so I understand it, and probably would have substituted one of these matchups for the Crush and the Repo, even though they was giving Crush a push as well. I understand it. So I think them was 3 dope cards. Undercard, that's just a little extra here and there. Thank you, Bree, for that. But other than that, man, I appreciate y'all, man, for vibing with me. If you got this far through the video, man, I really appreciate you. Go ahead and hit that like button for me. Help this video get to more wrestling fans. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hit that noti bell. All that good stuff. You heard it before. But appreciate y'all, man. Leave with love. Believe. Until the next video. Vibe.